Hey everyone, welcome to Handy at the Shandy, a Las Vegas podcast. I'm joined by Boring Jack and Table James Games. This is hour 2 of episode 22, and in this hour, we're going to go through some listener questions and some listener stories as well. We always want to encourage brief trip reports or stories. Emphasis on the brief. So our first question comes from Original David. It says, at the time of sending this email, it is 68 days until the Vegas community meetup. Well, what is that? Do we know what that is?
I think 360 Vegas is doing something.
Nice.
Paid
Okay.
attention. I can't make it. So.
Oh, cool. And I was thinking, how far out can you acceptably start counting down the time until leaving for a Vegas trip? Is there a general sliding scale for number of days out and perception as a degenerate? Would you consider it at some point? You can count by weeks or months and not be seen as a degenerate? I think counting down by days, if it's 2 weeks and under, is fine. Maybe a month is still okay. Right now, I could probably say 2 months until Vegas, and that could seem normal. But saying 68 days would be too oddly specific. Well, you said that in the first sentence of this email, Original David. But don't tell Vegas Bun Boy, because I think he counted down like 3 years in advance when he was doing
by the day, too. He'd be like, 438 days to Vegas.
I mean,
shit.
I personally don't think it's ever too early. In Bun Boy's case, multiple years was fine by me. I think a lot of people were really amped for his excitement and his countdown there. What do you guys think?
I agree. Never too early and never too specific. I love having my little counter on my phone that's like, 27 days. Or even when I don't have one for months away, being like, oh yeah, it's 68 days away. I think that's great. I love counting down. And then as it gets closer, I like to really be like, at this time in 2 weeks, or say, hey, I'm 1 week away, and then really counting down every day. I think it's just part of the like building up the excitement. And it's part of which we've talked about before. Like the hobby that we do is negative EV. Like the way that you make it not in general and overall utility is getting as much excitement out of it as you can when you can. And let's be honest, most of that excitement is the lead up and then not leaving when you leave down thousands of dollars.
I think there's so many good ways to track stuff like that. Like even if you just open up like your airline app, it'll say, oh, you check in for this flight in 41 days or whatever. Like it tells you those numbers well out. And even things like the Vegas message board, they have like little customizable like signatures for your posts that can contain your countdowns to your next trip that update automatically and stuff like that. And those are always by the day, 121 days, 22 hours and 3 minutes till I'm in Vegas, stuff like that. And so I don't think it shows you as degenerate. I think it just shows you as being enthusiastic and anticipatory. And so I'm with both these other guys. I'm way into it.
Could you plan too early, Jack? Can you be too anticipatory?
No, and I actually kind of...
Oh, well, that's weird because I asked you before we started recording about a time I was going to go to Vegas or thinking about going to Vegas. You said that's too early to start thinking about and planning.
Well, it's too early for me to plan it given that I don't know what else is going to be on my calendar at the time. If I knew I was going for some reason, like if someone really important to me wanted to go out there,
on your calendar.
Yeah.
Then I would maybe start getting
what a setup
for it. Mm-hmm. I actually kind of miss obviously not, but like I miss the longer gaps between Vegas trips where you'd actually be counting down for, months at a time or getting excited. Now that I go to Vegas like every 2 months, it's just kind of like, I'm not really even excited for the next trip until like a couple weeks out because the other one's been so recently. But on the other hand, it's nice to be able to go out right as soon as you start to get excited about Vegas again, you have another trip planned. And so there's benefits to both, but I do kind of miss the counting down to my like once or twice a year Vegas trip.
It's weird that I don't have the same anticipation as I do other vacations where I will have an equal amount of fun and not lose as much money, say going to like an all-inclusive. My wife's not listening, so like, I'm sorry, honey, but like going on vacation like an all-inclusive, I enjoy it just as much, if not more, but the anticipation is completely different, and I'm not exactly sure why.
It's because of gambling.
It's because of gambling.
Because the chance that I could come home with $10 million and stiff everybody around me.
Yeah. Hope you have a great time out there, Original David. Let us know how it goes.
Yes, we're counting down the days with you. I have it on my calendar now. Original David, 68 days away.
The next question we got to our email. Did I mention that you can email the pod at handyatttheshandy@gmail.com? Next question was from Austin. It's not a question. He is pointing out, he says, your discussion on worse payout versus worse odds got me thinking about how you could make blackjack worse to the point where it matches 000 Roulette's house edge. And so he talked to Claude and got the AI to come up with some rules for an 8-deck shoe game that would be as bad as playing 000 Roulette. And I thought this was funny. So here's what it is. Blackjack pays 6 to 5, no splitting ever, no doubling down ever. Player loses on all 17 to 20 ties. So if you make a made hand and the dealer makes the same one, you just lose instead of push. The player blackjack loses to dealer blackjack. And those are the rules. And it comes out to roughly 7.63% house edge, which is still ever
not
so
as
slightly
bad.
better than the 000 Roulette.
So like this is what's insane is you add one more zero and it just doesn't feel as impactful. Like everybody knows it is, but it's not a gut punch. Whereas if you put these rules in front of people, like what would happen?
Well, 000 Roulette is already still pretty poor. Like 000 Roulette is still way worse than 6 to 5 blackjack and stuff like that.
But this is still not as bad, technically speaking.
Right. Yeah, no, the fact that you lose on all the ties is just, I think it's so, the AI did certainly come up with some things that we would not have put in there, right? Like I would have gone to blackjacks paying even money before I decide that you get 18 and the dealer gets 18 and you lose.
Now we're just believing Claude here that all this math works out. Like, did we check anything? Did you check this at all, Jack? You're the math guy of the group.
I sent it off to you to check it. Did you not?
No, I did not.
Numbers?
I sent it to ChatGPT and my computer blew up. So this is not.
No. So Austin says, I love making grumpy blackjack players even grumpier. Have fun.
This would be insane. Like it's a really good expression of how bad 000 Roulette is, right? Like I said, it's one minor change, but it's equal to all these absolutely god-awful changes in this one game to where if you put this in front of a blackjack player, no one would ever play it.
Right. No, it's I thought this was good.
Yeah, if you have any other ways to make games terrible, I'm all for it. I never thought I'd say that, but this is a really fun exercise from Austin.
And if anybody wants to verify these numbers, please do. I can't be sitting here as an educator saying let's plug things into chat and Claude and say this is what the actual values are.
No, I buy it. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, Claude.
All right, fine.
Well, certain things like this, like no splitting and no doubling, do show up on things like video blackjack on bar tops. And so it's possible that a lot of these little things have known house edges associated with them. If you make this change, it lowers the player return by X number of percentage points and stuff like that. So it's not impossible that it could just kind of know this stuff. But anyway.
I'm going to say that Mark Duvall is going to be very angry with us if we're reporting bad statistics. So hopefully he can check that on us.
Well, that's the thing is like, it's not easy to figure out how a blackjack rule set will pay because you have to look at what the strategy would be for that rule set and then see what the house edge is. And so you have to actually do some work, which I will not do.
Either way, the generic idea of making these games worse to try and match 000 Roulette's house edge is an amazing thing. And I thank you, Austin, for that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I got a couple of questions on the Twitter. And so the first one came from @BostonVegasGuy. For my next trip, I broke a personal rule of never paying for a room. It was worth it. Do you guys
hasn't even been on this trip yet? How do we know?
Oh. Do you guys have personal rules when booking that you'll compromise if the value is good enough? Hotels, food, travel, etc. The rules you break when in Vegas, you can keep to yourselves. I think this relates a little bit to the first hour, right, Adam? When you were saying, nowadays you'll pay extra for a nicer room. I think the only personal rule that I would say sometimes I will compromise if the value is good enough is the staying where I'm going to play. And a lot of times that's when I'm like, I don't really care about this offer.
When you're double booking and triple booking.
Right. Or even just like, hey, I have 2 free nights at Wynn, but I'm trying to get these extra points at MGM or wherever. I still might just stay at Wynn because it's really nice and it's such a better value, and then just not playing there as much. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so 2026, I've made it the year where I will absolutely no longer continue to gamble on getting any sort of upgrade, even if it's a paid upgrade. Like I'm fine paying for paid upgrades, but I'm not going to do that anymore. Like when I take vacations with my wife and kids, I always book exactly the room that I want to have, even if I have status, because I need the extra space. Or my wife and I want the extra space with the kids. Whereas in Vegas, sometimes I'll be like, well, I'm getting a comp king room. I'd love an upgrade, but no big deal. Or like F1 or something, or one of the prior trips I went to Vidar, and I'm like, I would love Vidar Suite because I'd like a washer dryer. So I'm going to see if I can get an upgrade. And none were available. And it was kind of disappointing. And so I'm at the point now where, yes, I will prepay for an upgrade. So if maybe I'm getting like I said, a comp king at Bellagio, but really I want the corner king fountain view and it's an extra $50 a night or whatever. I'll pay that extra $50 up front, no problem, because I'm not going to gamble on that anymore. I'll leave that to the casino.
Yeah, I thought this was a tough one for me because I don't think I really have any hard and fast rules. And if I do, then I probably don't really break them because like it's hard to tell, what your rules are, but like in some sense the rules I have are just the behavior that I do. And so there's certain things I don't really do anymore that I used to be okay with, like going to some of the lower end hotels, like, the mid-tier properties. Like I used to stay at like Horseshoe or stuff like that. I don't think I'd be willing to stay at a lot of I don't know, maybe any property in like the bottom 50th percentile in Vegas, like not even just your Luxors and Excaliburs, but like I'm not going to be staying at New York or Park MGM or something like that. I already kind of know where I want to stay and I just kind of stay there. But that's not really like a rule, and if it is, it's not one that I break. So I don't know if I have a good answer for this. I think I have habits more than rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think habit's probably the good way to describe it. I think part of it is just going to Vegas so often, knowing the different room types at the different places and saying like, yeah, New York, I actually would stay there if their rooms weren't 325 square feet, which is pretty much all of them. And that's just too small for me. Like this sounds bougie and a little bit privileged, which it is, but like, because I can get comps somewhere else, like I'm not going to try and stay at New York, even though I might want to, because it's just the room's not going to be the size and not going to be comfortable enough for me at that rate. So, but I will, yeah, absolutely pay for a room. If I want to stay at a nice property, I just did it Win, I'll pay out of pocket for it because it's something nice. It's a treat. I don't think you should overlook those things, especially if you want to get into a new property. I think there's too many people that are like stuck in a program and are afraid of paying for a room when, hey, pay for that room once. And then maybe if you show them that you're someone that can earn a free room at their place, you're not going to have to pay for a room again. And you're in a new program that you like at a new resort that you like. So worth a shot.
I guess he says hotels, food, and travel. I think one rule I've realized that I have that I break under certain circumstances is about eating like chain restaurants or fast food while on vacation, which is generally a strict no. Like I'm not going to eat something I can get at home. But I think one place where I'm going to break that rule a lot is at the airport. Like if I'm at the Las Vegas airport, I'm going to be eating at the new Panda Express, or I'm going to be getting like a Jamba Juice and a Cinnabon or something like that, right? Like I'm not looking for anything out of the ordinary or good or interesting at the airport. Like I want shitty chain airport food. And so even though it's kind of part of my vacation, I think that's an area where,
well, that's a place where like there's no rules there when it comes to dieting or drinking or anything like that. Like you can drink at 7 a.m. at an airport, no one's going to bat an eye. So I don't think that counts. All right, so we've got a message from friend of the pod, Dan. I assume that's what FOTP stands for.
oh yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Said, I will just keep this short, but I'm curious if you intentionally overlooked the following restaurants downtown or were aware of them. We intentionally overlook a lot of things. Well, the first one I don't know about. 1221 or 1221. How are we pronouncing that?
Don't know. Haven't heard of it.
Sure.
1221 Maine says a great place for breakfast or lunch. For someone like Jack, it would be an easy walk from a downtown casino, but I usually Uber there, and it's not expensive to do that at all. The pastries are also quite good. Not intentionally overlooked for my part. I don't know that restaurant, but I'll take it at your word that the pastries are good.
Yeah, I know Dan stays downtown a lot, so I do value his
Downtown
opinion.
Dan.
Downtown Dan.
I think in general, for me, if something is downtown, but it's not like within the immediate vicinity of Fremont, the chance that I want to go there is actually kind of low, because there's a lot of stuff you can Uber to in Vegas that has good breakfast. Like, it's a large city with a lot of like decent breakfast joints, some hole in the wall cafes, that kind of stuff. Like you said, it's kind of an easy walk, but like a lot of things once you get off the Fremont Street area are not like the most pleasant walk. And so I don't know if you're going to catch me walking down Main Street.
Well, you can Uber to 1221 Main because apparently it's good. So the other one he says is Triple George. He said, I really couldn't believe that you guys talked about Pizza Rock and not Triple George. They have great service and a creative menu. I suppose you could technically label them as a steakhouse, which is why you might not have listed them, but I really don't think of them that way. They have a rotating $20 lunch special you can't beat, in my opinion. Not intentionally overlooked there. I've just always ignored Triple George for some reason. I thought it kind of looked boring, but apparently it's not.
I think I intentionally overlooked it. I've eaten there a couple times, and it's never really stood out to me. It kind of feels like a higher end kind of grill, just an American grill and chop house sort of place. And the cocktails are fine and the food's fine, and I'd be happy to eat there, but I wouldn't go out of my way to eat there.
Yeah, not intentionally overlooked for my part. I feel like if I wanted something slightly better than casual, I would go to Freedom Beat because I think they've got good specials there too, and I've liked their food. And so if I want to keep prices down on Fremont and be around downtown Grand, that's where I would typically go. But I do know people like Triple George, so I'm glad he mentioned it.
I will say that I Googled 1221 Main, Las Vegas.
Is that its address?
Yeah, well, no. It's actually 1228 Main.
Brutal.
Oh, maybe you intentionally overlooked something there, friend of the pod.
Yeah,
Dan.
friend of the pod, Dan. No, it does look great. I have not been to either of these places. I really don't do a lot downtown, as we all know, but I am booked there for the end of June. So to honor friend of the pod, Dan, I'm going to go to both of these places and then report back.
Now you have to.
And check out what's at 1221 Main Street.
I'm also
going to
check out what's at 1221.
Let me know if it's a hair transplant thing. I'm in the business or in the market for it. So
yeah. All right. Another question I got on the Twitter from Mississippi Rob. Looking for the best MGM strip resort for a couples trip with no kids. There are some must-haves. 1, a great pool is a must. That's the only must-have they have.
Okay. I was about to say, I can see the email.
Yeah, I was like
that.
I love Mandalay/Delano, but it is so far down the strip. Thinking we could just take gambling strolls up the strip, then Uber back. But I thought y'all might have another recommendation. Well, if you want to hear our glowing review of Mandalay Bay, please listen to hour 1. Mm-hmm. You'll hear all the great things that we all said about Mandalay Bay. To repeat myself from the first hours, I've never really stayed or really been in Mandalay Bay. I think if it's a couple's trip with no kids, you want a great pool. I think you've got some space at Bellagio would be wonderful. I think they have a good pool. Of course, I mean, it's not what I've heard about the Mandalay pool, but I don't know. I'd probably stay Bellagio if I was going with my wife and wanted to do more pool things, because I don't think if it was more pool stuff, I don't think I would do Cosmo. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I would choose, what's the non-boulevard pool at Cosmo?
The Chelsea
pool.
Mm-hmm.
I would choose the Chelsea pool because it's a bit more low-key and laid back. And as far as I remember, the cabana prices are still food and beverage inclusive, which is important. But also remember that if you want to book like a day bed somewhere, typically you don't have to be a guest at the resort and you could still get in there. So, I know Rob, and I think he wouldn't be shy about spending some money to book a day bed. A cabana might not be worth it for 2 people, but certainly like a day bed you could do. And you can go to any resort. It doesn't even have to be MGM, which is nice. But yeah, Bellagio is going to be my number 1, or Chelsea pool at Cosmo would be probably my number 2.
Yeah, I second. I always rant and rave about the Bellagio pool complex, so I shan't do that here. But the other thing to maybe think about is I always walk past the Park MGM pool, like when you're walking through that little connect between there and Aria, and it always looks really nice. And so I would say Park MGM might be a sleeper pick, and maybe even the Reserve, formerly known as Nomad, the Reserve at Park MGM, I think has their own pool. You obviously get access to the Park MGM pool, but they have their own exclusive pool as well.
But of course, if you really love Mandalay Bay,
Nah, it's too far. Don't do it.
You know what?
Uber
Normally I
back and
would.
forth.
I'd agree with you, James, normally, but I'm at the point now that I don't want to, like, if I'm going to go to a pool, I just want it to be at my resort or like the next door resort or something like that. I don't want to get in a car and do all
Well,
that
he's saying
stuff.
the other way around. You'd stay at Mandalay Bay, go to the pool at Mandalay Bay, and then do everything else in a car, perhaps.
Oh, that I'd be down for, maybe.
Yeah.
But you'd be missing the action of Center Strip and all that fun stuff.
That is true.
This next email we got is from Emily from Houston, and this was sent directly to James's email.
That's right.
For work, who then forwarded it to me at handy@theshandy@gmail.com, where I got to read it. And I abridged and paraphrased some of this stuff here, but this is just a brief notes from a trip that Emily took. She says, this past weekend I was in town for our 20th annual girls trip to Vegas, and the 10 of us are helping that male-female ratio of visitors.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
This is info. If we had known this last week, that there were 10 women that went to Vegas every year, that would have really changed some things for us.
Mm-hmm.
But she says we stayed at the newish Paris Versailles Tower, and it was a great option to be at the center of the strip.
Oh, yeah.
I've been listening to you guys for a while, and you got me really interested in video poker. I've played before, but mostly just to sit at the bar and get free drinks. I checked out the Wizard of Odds for strategy on jacks or better, per the advice from your last podcast, and yeah, turns out I didn't have a strategy.
Welcome to the club, Emily.
Or rather, I did, but it sucked. I get it now. Hold the pairs. If there's one thing you're going to take away, it's that it's hard to beat a pair. Yeah. So this trip, instead of losing all my money at the craps table, I only lost some of my money at the craps table and decided to play more video poker. And she says she enjoyed the Cosmos Chandelier Bar, and with specific mention of the Verbena cocktail, which is the one with that little flower you chew on that numbs your mouth. That one's always a classic. And she says she found the 9-5 jacks or better at Bar Luca and liked it so much that she went back to that same bar the next day. And so
she's doing like a Handy at the Shandy World Tour, which is great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so she just wanted to thank us for the show, and she's glad to have found some new favorite video poker places in Las Vegas. And we're definitely influencers now. I don't know if we were before, but
we've convinced a group of women, and it's just Emily, a group of women to start playing more video poker and go to Chandelier Bar and Bar Luca. I don't know how much better it gets.
Yeah. No, I really liked. I actually screenshotted this and sent it to Kim and said, "Well, I'm like an influencer now, so next."
Emily, one trip to that website, Wizard of Odds, has now placed you as a better video poker player than I am. So congratulations.
Yeah,
but that's cool. No, that's neat, and I'd like to hear that the Versailles Tower is working out for people as well. I'd love to. Have they figured out? Like, do you have to still check in at Horseshoe or what's going on there? Do we know?
I'm not sure.
I mean, Emily knows. That was kind of a bummer at first, but it does look really nice. I think
my guess is you still just check in at Paris, but they have that walkway.
That's
the
right.
Walkway
Okay,
is now
what I was
open.
thinking,
That gets you don't have to go through the standard Paris Horseshoe connector. You get to go through a slightly different one.
Yeah, I'm always excited for a new room product. They look really crisp, really fresh. So I've actually been meaning to check it out.
Yeah. Thanks for the email, Emily. I really enjoyed reading it.
Oh, it's my turn. Oh, we got an email from Craig Smith, if that is his real name. Says, Smith is very generic. No, I take that out.
Leave it in.
I have an upcoming Vegas trip for a work conference at the Cosmopolitan. Since my company is covering the room, I won't be using any room offers and may not be gambling as much as usual. I was hoping to get your advice. At check-in, should I use my player's card to potentially receive a room upgrade or have any room charges tracked? Or would it be better from a comp standpoint to only use my card on the days when I expect to have more meaningful gambling play? Interesting question here.
I always wonder what the correlation is, how strong the correlation is between someone saying, I may not be gambling as much as usual, and actually gambling less than they usually do. Because I feel like it's just kind of, as a gambler, it's kind of famous last words. We're like, oh, this is going to be kind of a limited gambling trip. And then I just sit at the video poker bar.
I get where he's coming from. For me, it is actually limited. So I get that. But what are your thoughts on his conundrum here? Like, do you think it's going to matter that much?
I don't think it's going to matter that much. I would use it because if they're paying the full rack rate and the company's covering those charges, then you're going to get the points from the hotel on your player's card. And I think they're going to value that. You know, obviously they're, your Theo and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But like, I would still do it. And then worst case is, my guess that you might lose a little bit of free play and resort, but you're going to get those sweet, sweet full hotel points.
Yeah, I kind of looked at it the other way, where I feel like in general, your Theo, I mean, it probably depends on how much you gamble, but I feel like I love opportunities to be at a property for a longer amount of time than they know I'm there and get to be selective about which days I do or don't use my card. And so like we've talked about booking hotels via credit card portals and stuff like that. And one of the big advantages of doing that is being that you can maybe only use your card on one day, but stay at the hotel for multiple days. And so I saw this, like, little alarm bells went off in my head, and it was like, oh, this is the perfect spot to just do one big day of play on your card. And then any other days that you're there, yeah, you can gamble as much as you'd like, but you don't have to use your card for it. And then you can really juice it up.
Well, does it change based on him saying that he probably wouldn't be gambling as much as usual?
Right. It even more. Yeah. So
Right.
even for me, it was like, maybe this is a trip where you don't use your card at all. And then that way you're not accidentally hitching your trailer to, I don't know, you're not accidentally
to a horse that's
the horse with no name.
Good.
Yeah.
Rode it on a Friday.
I see what you're saying though, James, because there are a lot of people who, man, I got many messages at the end of last year, and this happens years in a row now, where people are like, I'm like right on the cutoff of hitting gold or hitting platinum. What can I do in these last 2 weeks? And my big answer is usually nothing, because if you don't have a Vegas trip planned, you're not going to get the credit card in time for it to even matter. So yeah, if you are like I want to earn a lot of tier points person, and you don't think it's going to move the needle too much on your offers and you don't care that much, then yeah, sure, go ahead. But if you're not sure about whether or not they have an accurate picture of you and you're not out in Vegas that much, and this really could have a pretty big impact on the offers you have, then yeah, maybe it's best to keep it in your pocket.
Back in the day, Cosmo's identity program used to give you enough points per spend at the resort that I think if you spent $4,000 within the year just out of pocket on hotel or F&B, that would be enough to get gold. And so maybe it was 5,000, but it was one of those two numbers. It was not a lot of spend because of how many points you got for it. Whereas with MGM now, I think it's about 4x for resort spend into tier credits. So that would mean like even if your employer is putting up like $1,500 for you to stay there for like 3-4 nights, that's going to give you what, 6,000 points of the 75,000 you need to get gold. Like a tier credit wise, it just doesn't feel like that much to me anymore.
No, I mean, it is 8% though. I mean, and if you are close every year to getting gold, it could matter to you, because I mean that's no resort fees and stuff like that. So that could be, if you're going a couple times, it's multiple hundreds of dollars potentially.
Yeah, no, not something I'd thought of.
I think it also depends on your discipline. Like I just know for me, I'm answering very personal. If I tell myself I'm going to, like, I'm not going to gamble that much today, so I'm not going to use my card. If I go play video poker and hit, a couple $1,000s early, like that day is just going to be all video poker. Like, I think I'm just always going to use my card because I'm like, it's just going to be easier. It's going to be easier, my mental load, than trying to figure out, ooh, now I am and now I'm not, and now I am and now I'm not. So.
Yeah, that's generally been my point of view too. Unless I know it's going to be a really quick, like I'm going to play for 30 minutes and that's it, and I'm not staying here, then yeah, I'm not going to use my card. But typically I want to earn the points and rack that up. So yeah. But maybe to my detriment. I don't know.
Yeah, good question, Craig.
Yeah. So Jack, you've got an upcoming trip you're going to give us a little preview on?
Are you going to be using your card?
Good question.
That's a good question. Please save that for the end when I will take questions.
Use it at 12:22 Main or whatever.
At the time that this podcast comes out, I will be in Vegas looking to leave shortly thereafter. So I've got a trip coming up this past Friday through today, Monday. We record this on a Wednesday. It comes out on a Monday. In the interim, I will be in Vegas. And this is a quick 3-night stay, but really more like 2 full days in Vegas. Saturday and Sunday are the 2 days that I will be there, leaving Monday. And I'm staying at Palazzo. I'm going to be joined by one Mr. Vegas Duffy. And we're going to play a lot of video poker and drink a lot of drinks. But we're also still trying to do some things that we haven't done before. And so I'm going to eat Friday night at one of his favorites, Howlin' Ray's Hot Chicken at the Venetian. And here's an idea I had for that. One of the things I really like, because I don't really like a lot of like mayo-based or ranch-based sauces, which is what you tend to get at these hot chicken places.
Mm-hmm.
I really like to dip my chicken in honey. Like
Okay.
bee honey. And
I thought you meant other honey.
We got it.
It's like there was like this place we would go to that had, I would always order honey with like the chicken strips or whatever, and I would always come out with honey mustard. And then the waitress got to the point where she would see it ahead of time and be like, "Yep, I put in for honey, and they gave you honey mustard again. I'll fix that." And so she had to like write on the receipt like honey,
Bee honey?
like bee honey, so that people would know what it meant.
Oh, see, like our Dunkin' Donuts, if I ask them for something like a plain bagel, they don't know how to compute that. Like it's just like what they always ask me is I'm like, no cream cheese, not toasted. So they go, just in a bag? I'm like, well, you're not going to hand me a bagel. Like just put it in something.
I thought you were going to say that you get honey in your tea at Dunkin' Donuts, and sometimes they put honey mustard in it because they're unsure of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that could be. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
I was going to cut that out. Now we have to leave that whole discussion in. So as a big hack for honey, I think I'm going to try to go to like a Walgreens and see if I can just get like a bear filled with, I mean, that's the traditional unit of honey is one bear.
One miniature bear. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to get a miniature bear filled with honey and then go dip my hot chicken in it. That's
you don't think Howlin' Ray's hot chicken will have honey there?
They have a very limited menu, as do a lot of these places at the food courts, but no, they only have 2 dipping sauces as far as I understand.
Oh, all right.
The next morning, we're going to try to do, and I mentioned this on one of our previous podcasts when I was going over some of the fun all-you-can-eat breakfasts. No, it's not another Guy Fieri's. It is Mott 32's Weekend Dim Sum Brunch.
Oh, slightly more upscale.
Yeah, and so we're going to give that a try.
And that's at Venetian?
It's on the Palazzo side, yeah. But
okay.
Black Tap at Venetian is on the menu. I've been there, but not in a couple of years. And I feel like it's kind of a remnant of a big burger wave that hit Vegas like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it still has stood the test of time. So it's a good burger and shake spot. Gonna try to do some Bouchon.
Oh, wee. Word of the day.
Yeah. So
I haven't heard Bouchon in a while.
Yeah, we haven't.
Have to sneak that back in there. And then a brand new place that opened maybe 6 months ago at Palazzo, which is kind of a LA or New York, the Miami, there's all these various small chain restaurants that just exist in only the biggest tourist hubs. And they always end up making their way to Las Vegas. One of them is Cote Korean Steakhouse. And I've heard good things about it and I want to give that a try. So going to do a bunch of stuff that is new to me or that I haven't done in a while. And so I'm pretty excited for that.
Speaking of new to you, where are you staying?
Staying at Palazzo.
Oh, okay. All right. This makes sense.
I was considering, because that weekend was looking expensive for whatever reason, I was considering staying at Fontainebleau because, like I've said, their offers are a little over generous at the moment, but then the Palazzo prices came down. So I think I'm paying for one night at like $200 and then resort fee on all 3 nights. But other than that, it's comped. So it's like, I don't know. I'm probably getting out under $400 for the 3 nights, which is worth it to me to not have to walk from Fontainebleau and to not burn my Fontainebleau offer, which I will still have outstanding and maybe we'll take advantage of at some point.
Do you try to get like an upgrade at Palazzo whenever you're there?
Never have. In fact, they're just standard rooms so much. I don't even know what I would ask for.
That's fair.
It's big enough. The only thing I would maybe try to ask for is like a particular view, because I've seen people's view. Their building is kind of a Y shape, like a lot of Vegas hotels are, which is kind of like the big arc out in front that looks over the strip, and then like a little thing that juts out in the back to make it kind of a 3-winged hotel. At the Palazzo, if you're on that one that juts out the back and you're on a high floor looking south, you actually have great views of the strip because of the way the like bend in the strip works. So you're kind of looking out kind of at the Ferris wheel height.
Right.
Kind of down that Ferris wheel side of the strip. And I've only seen that in pictures. And so maybe sometime I'll ask them for that. But
I think Palazzo is like the second tallest building in Vegas too, behind Fontainebleau. So that would make sense.
Yeah.
A little trivia for you.
I'm a big fan of the Palazzo and its kind of stature, I guess I should say.
Second largest occupied building, like with
continuously inhabitable is the word they generally use to differentiate between buildings and structures. That's a good point. Where's James's nerd drop?
Yeah, we need a nerd drop, baby.
Well, and to wrap up hour 2, we wanted to give some Patreon shout outs. This is actually a marquee episode for us because this is actually the last free episode we're ever going to do. We're now moving to a full Patreon model. Am I right?
Well, Res Mike was asking, and he's one of our new patrons. He asked, will we be adding a double up feature to our Patreon subscription levels because they're named after various video poker things? I love that idea. Like each month, you either cut us a check for half as much or just nothing. You get it rebated back to you.
Oh, well, not half as much, twice as much.
Did I say half as much?
You sure did.
Don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
We
no,
need
that
this
sucks.
money.
That's the half up feature. That'd be the worst video poker. Hey,
that's trying to get it to 000 roulette.
But for us, that could actually work out where their two options are either paying us double or paying us half. Like if they're not mathematically minded, they might think that that's kind of an even wager. So,
ooh, yeah. Well, either way, no, Adam. We will continue to be doing some, and by some I mean all, free episodes,
and they're free thanks to a bunch of our new patrons.
And who would that be, Jack? Because I thought we weren't thanking people. I thought it was not part of it.
James was so mad that we're actually going to be shouting people out. But I would like to give a quick shout out to the Crap Vegas Podcast, Tom N., Nick C., Ryan L., Marilyn, Yo Eric, Brian B., Holt Stevens, Chris Niebel, Res Mike, and Bryce Irving. Look how many people. That's insane that we got that many people signing up in the first week.
That is nuts.
Thank you, everyone, for the generosity. We have rewarded you by releasing an extra short couple hours of episodes this week. But
we're already phoning it in. We got your money, and now we're just on easy street now.
We'll be back with some longer content next week, especially with my trip report.
Yeah, and also it'll be in 2 weeks because we only release every 2 weeks, not next week.
See, Jack's he's mentally not in it anymore.
No, he's mentally
just
not
counting the money. I haven't seen the money. James, you haven't seen the money.
I'm just going to cut myself in saying next episode.
His mental accounting is taking up all his capacity right now.
Next episode. Next episode. Just going
to cut that in every time.
We'll be back next episode with...
Jesus Christ, get us out of here, Adam.
Well, thank you all for listening. Thanks for writing in. We really appreciate it. Thank you to the very nice reviews as well. That it not only helps boost our egos, but it does help people find us as well. So thank you very much. Thanks for listening to episode 22, hour 2. Until next time, I'm Adam the Fraud with Boring Jack and Table James Games.
Take care.
Bye now.